Welcome back, to our channel Valuable Coins HD. Coin collectors and history lovers. Today we have an incredibly rare and exciting coin to talk about, the 1918 United States half dollar. Now, when it comes to classic American coins, the 1918 half dollar is one that stands out not only because of its age, but also because of its rich history, its unique design, and its potential for tremendous value. This coin could be sitting in your collection or even in your pocket change right now, and trust me, you'll want to take a closer look. In this video, we're going to dive into the key features of the 1918 half dollar, show you what errors to watch out for, and explain why this coin could be worth more than you ever imagined. Stick around to the end, because we'll also reveal how much it could be worth if you happen to find one with the right qualities. Let's start with the basics. The 1918 half dollar is part of the famed Walking Liberty series, which was minted from 1916 to 1947. This series is considered one of the most beautiful and iconic designs in American coinage history. On the obverse, that's the front, of the coin, we see Lady Liberty striding forward, draped in an American flag, holding a branch of olive in her right hand and a shield in her left. The design, created by artist Adolph A. Weinman, represents liberty in motion and is often regarded as one of the most striking representations of liberty in U.S. coinage. On the reverse, the back, of the 1918 half dollar, you'll find a majestic eagle perched on a rock, wings spread wide. The eagle holds arrows and an olive branch in its talons, symbolizing the U.S. government's military and diplomatic power. The reverse also includes the inscriptions United States of America and half dollar, along with the mint year 1918. The key features of this coin, such as its size, it weighs 12.5 grams, and its 90% silver composition, make it both a collectible and valuable item. The 1918 half dollar was produced in relatively high numbers compared to other coins of the era, but due to its age and the fact that a significant number of these coins have been lost, worn, or melted down over time, finding a well-preserved one can be like discovering a hidden treasure. Now, let's talk about why this coin is so valuable. First and foremost, its silver content plays a huge role. As you probably know, the 1918 half dollar is composed of 90% silver, meaning that its intrinsic value is determined by the current silver market. While the silver content itself gives the coin some worth, its historical significance and the design alone make it an item of much greater value for collectors. The Walking Liberty series, as a whole, has a reputation for being one of the most beautiful coins in U.S. history, and because of that, the 1918 half dollar is highly sought after by both casual collectors and seasoned numismatists. Its value increases significantly based on its condition, rarity, and the specific minting errors it might contain, but here's where it gets really interesting: errors. Minting errors can elevate a coin's value substantially, and the 1918 half dollar is no exception. There are several key errors you'll want to keep an eye out for if you're looking for a valuable piece. One of the most notable errors in the 1918 half dollar series is the overdate error. This happens when the coin die used to strike the coins wears down or becomes misaligned, leading to an error where the year on the coin is struck twice, or the digits are unclear. On the 1918 half dollar, the overdate error typically occurs with the 1 being visible underneath the second 1 in the date. This error can be difficult to spot unless you're looking closely, but when you do find it, the value can jump up considerably. Another error that you should look for is the die crack. A die crack occurs when the minting die develops a crack that transfers onto the coin during the minting process. This error is often subtle but can be visible on the rim of the coin or in the design itself. Die cracks can increase the value of a coin because they make it unique, and collectors love coins with distinct characteristics. Additionally, off-center strikes can also occur with the 1918 half dollar, where the coin is not fully aligned during the minting process. If you find one that is off-center with part of the design missing or misaligned, this could also significantly increase the coin's value. Off-center coins are often considered rarer, and they're highly prized by collectors looking for unusual specimens. Another error to be aware of is the weak strike. This happens when the minting die doesn't apply enough pressure to the coin, leading to weak details in the design. For the 1918 half dollar, this can be most noticeable in the eagle's feathers or the lettering on the coin. While it's not as dramatic as some of the other errors, a weak strike can still make the coin more interesting and valuable to collectors who appreciate subtle flaws. So, now that we've covered what to look for, how do you spot a valuable 1918 half dollar? First, you'll want to assess the coin's condition. Coins that are in better condition with minimal wear will generally be worth more. If you find one that looks particularly well preserved, it may be worth significantly more than a worn-out version. The 1918 half dollar, especially one that's in high-grade condition, can fetch a premium price. Next, check for errors. Use a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe to carefully inspect the details of the coin. Look for any of the errors we've discussed, such as overdates, die cracks, or off-center strikes. The more prominent and noticeable the error, the higher the value of the coin. Be sure to also check the edge of the coin, as some minting errors are easier to spot there. Another thing to look for is the mint mark on the reverse side of the coin, just below the eagle's tail. The mint mark indicates where the coin was struck. In 1918, the U.S. Mint produced half dollars at several facilities, including Philadelphia, no mint mark, Denver, D, and San Francisco, S. Coins with rarer mint marks, particularly those struck in San Francisco, can be more valuable than others. So, how much is a 1918 half dollar worth? Well, this is where things get really exciting. A typical 1918 half dollar in good condition is worth around a few $100s, thanks to its silver content and historical significance. But if you're lucky enough to find a 1918 half dollar with one of those coveted errors, like a double-digit overdate or an off-center strike, the value can skyrocket. Depending on the rarity of the coin and its condition, the value of a 1918 half dollar can range anywhere from $55,000 to $120,000. That's right, this coin, which was once only worth 50 cents, could potentially be worth more than $100,000 in today's market, especially if it's in excellent condition with rare minting errors. Before we wrap up, we want to know, have you ever come across a 1918 half dollar or any other rare coin? Maybe you found an error coin that turned out to be more valuable than you thought? Drop a comment below and share your experiences with us. Today's video is one you definitely don't want to miss. We're diving into a truly fascinating and valuable coin, the 1972 United States half dollar. At first glance, it may look like any other half dollar circulating in your pocket change, but don't be fooled. This coin has an interesting story, key features, and, if you know what to look for, could be worth a lot more than its face value. Stick with us as we uncover the hidden treasures behind the 1972 half dollar, share what makes it so valuable, and explain how to spot one that might be worth thousands, if not more. Let's start with a bit of background. The 1972 half dollar is part of the Kennedy half dollar series, which was first introduced in 1964 following the tragic assassination of President John F. Kennedy. The coin was designed by Gilroy Roberts, and the reverse design, featuring the presidential seal with an eagle, was created by Frank Gasparo. The 1972 version of the Kennedy half dollar features the familiar image of President Kennedy on the obverse, and on the reverse, you'll see the majestic eagle holding a shield, arrows, and an olive branch, surrounded by stars and the inscriptions, United States of America, and half dollar. Now, on to the good stuff. Why is the 1972 half dollar worth more than its face value? Well, one of the reasons it has become a valuable collectible is the quality of the design and its connection to President Kennedy, whose image has become iconic in American history. Additionally, the 1972 half dollar series features certain characteristics that make it highly collectible. While the coin was minted in large quantities, over 100 million, some of its particular characteristics make it stand out. One of the main reasons for its high value is the silver content. Although by 1971 the U.S. Mint had started producing coins using a copper-nickel clad composition, a portion of the 1972 Kennedy half dollars were still made using 40% silver. These silver half dollars are much more valuable than their copper-nickel counterparts, particularly with the price of silver rising over time. The silver content, combined with the coin's historical importance, makes the 1972 half dollar a prized possession for collectors. But here's where things get even more interesting: errors. That's right, minting errors can take a relatively common coin like the 1972 half dollar and turn it into something worth a small fortune. So, what should you be on the lookout for when searching through your collection, or even your pocket change? Let's break down some of the most notable errors that make this coin particularly valuable. First up, the double die obverse error. This is one of the most sought-after errors in the 1972 half dollar series. A double die error happens when the die used to strike the coin is misaligned, causing the design to appear twice or doubled. On a 1972 half dollar, the most noticeable areas to look for doubling are in the words "Liberty" and "In God We Trust." If you examine these areas under magnification and notice a visible doubling, then you might just have a rare error coin in your hands. Double die errors like this can dramatically increase the value of the coin, especially if the doubling is clear and prominent. Another error that can make a huge difference is the off-center strike. This error occurs when the coin is not properly aligned during the minting process, causing part of the design to be cut off or misaligned. For the 1972 half dollar, an off-center strike can create a very unique and visually striking coin. If you spot a 1972 half dollar with an off-center strike, especially one with a large portion of the design missing, you may have a coin that could fetch a much higher price than a typical example. Now, let's talk about another error that collectors love to find: die cracks. These are small fractures that develop on the coin die as it wears over time. When the coin is struck with a cracked die, the crack shows up on the coin itself. For the 1972 half dollar, die cracks can sometimes create interesting patterns, especially around the edges of the coin or the eagle's wings. Coins with noticeable die cracks are rare and often highly sought after by collectors. The more pronounced and unique the crack, the higher the coin's value. In addition to these errors, the overall condition of the coin plays a major role in its value. A well-preserved coin, one that shows minimal wear and retains most of its original details, will always be worth more than a heavily worn coin. If you have a 1972 half dollar that looks like it was barely circulated, it could be worth significantly more. So, how do you spot a valuable 1972 half dollar? First, you'll want to examine the coin's condition. Look for any signs of wear or damage. A coin that's in excellent condition with a shiny, almost new appearance is considered more valuable. If the coin shows significant wear, especially in the details of the design, its value will be lower. Use a magnifying glass or loupe to inspect the details on the coin, especially the inscriptions like "Liberty" and "In God We Trust." If you notice any doubling or other errors, you'll know you've got a coin that's worth a lot more than its face value. Next, look for the mint mark on the reverse side of the coin, just below the eagle. For the 1972 half dollar, the coin could have been minted in Philadelphia, which doesn't have a mint mark, or Denver, with a D mint mark. Coins with certain mint marks can sometimes be rarer than others, so keep an eye out for these variations. Now, let's talk about the moment you've all been waiting for: how much is the 1972 half dollar worth? While most 1972 half dollars in average condition are worth around $10 to $15, the real value lies in the rare and error coins. If you happen to find a 1972 half dollar with a notable minting error, such as the double die obverse, off-center strike, or die crack, the value can skyrocket. Depending on the rarity of the error, the coin could be worth anywhere from $5,000 to $110,000. That's right. Your 50-cent coin could potentially fetch 5 figures if it's in exceptional condition or has an error that collectors are willing to pay top dollar for. Before we finish up, I want to hear from you. Have you ever found a 1972 half dollar with an error or in great condition? Or maybe you've stumbled across a different rare coin in your collection? Today, we're taking a deep dive into a coin that has both historical significance and the potential to bring in some serious cash, the 1776 to 1976 United States bicentennial half dollar. If you've ever wondered why this coin stands out from others in the Kennedy half dollar series, you're about to find out. Stay tuned, because by the end of this video, you'll know everything there is to know about this iconic coin and how much it could be worth in today's market. Let's get started. First off, let's talk about the history behind the 1776 to 1976 half dollar. The coin was issued to commemorate the 200th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. The year 1976 marked a huge milestone in American history, 200 years since the birth of the United States, and to celebrate this, the U.S. Mint produced a special coin to honor the occasion. What makes this coin stand out from the usual Kennedy half dollar, which features a portrait of President John F. Kennedy, is its unique reverse design. The reverse side of the 1776 to 1976 bicentennial half dollar is unlike any other Kennedy half dollar before or after it. Instead of the eagle design that usually appears, the reverse showcases a beautiful depiction of the Liberty Bell superimposed on the moon. The design was created by artist Jack L. Ahr, and it's meant to symbolize America's journey to freedom and the exploration of space, two defining elements of American identity in 1976. Above the image, you'll see the inscription 1776 to 1976, marking the bicentennial, with United States of America and half dollar surrounding the design. The obverse side of the coin still features the classic portrait of President John F. Kennedy, designed by Gilroy Roberts. However, this time, there's an important twist. This coin is sometimes called the bicentennial Kennedy half dollar because of the special design used to mark the historic occasion. The 1776 to 1976 half dollar was produced in both proof and uncirculated versions, making it a must-have for many collectors. Now, you might be thinking, okay, this coin sounds cool, but what makes it so valuable? While the 1776 to 1976 half dollar was produced in large numbers, its value goes up when you start considering a few key factors, such as its composition, its historical significance, and certain rare versions and errors that collectors look for. The coin is made from 40% silver, which automatically increases its base value due to the price of silver. Although it was minted in large numbers, the 40% silver content means that it holds more intrinsic value than a coin made purely from copper and nickel. But what really gets collectors excited is the rarity of specific versions of this coin, especially those with errors or unique features. While the Mint produced millions of these coins in 1976, the 1776 to 1976 half dollar series has some key variations and errors that can make it worth a lot more than you might expect. One of the most important things to look for is minting errors. These are mistakes made during the production process that can make a coin much more valuable than a typical, error-free piece. One of the most notable errors to watch for in the 1776 to 1976 half dollar is the double die error. A double die occurs when the die used to strike the coin shifts during the minting process, causing the design to appear twice in one area. This error is most commonly found in the inscriptions on the obverse side of the coin, where the word "Liberty" or "In God We Trust" may appear doubled. If you find a 1776 to 1976 half dollar with clear doubling in the lettering, that's a sure sign that the coin could be worth a lot more. Another error that can make a big difference in the coin's value is the off-center strike. An off-center strike happens when the coin is misaligned in the press, causing part of the design to be cut off or displaced. If you find a 1776 to 1976 half dollar that's noticeably off-center, with parts of the image missing or the design shifted, it's considered a rare and valuable error. Off-center strikes are highly collectible because they make the coin one of a kind, and they tend to bring in more money from collectors who are searching for unique specimens. In addition to these errors, the proof coins of the 1776 to 1976 half dollar are worth paying special attention to. Proof coins are specially struck for collectors and have a mirror-like finish that sets them apart from regular coins. These coins were made using a higher quality minting process, which results in a much sharper, more detailed design. If you have a 1776 to 1976 half dollar that was struck as a proof coin, especially one in excellent condition, it could fetch a premium price from collectors looking to complete their sets of bicentennial coins. The condition of the coin is another important factor to consider when determining its value. Coins that have been well preserved and show little to no signs of wear will be worth more than those that have been heavily circulated. A coin in high-grade condition, meaning it has minimal scratches, dings, or discoloration, can be much more valuable. So, if you're looking for a 1776 to 1976 half dollar that's in pristine condition, be sure to inspect it carefully for any signs of wear. Now, let's talk about the money, the exciting part. The 1776 to 1976 half dollar, depending on its condition, minting errors, and version, can range in value from $5,500 to $115,000. That's right, this relatively common coin could be worth anywhere between $5,500 and $115,000 in today's market. A coin with the right minting errors, especially one that's well preserved, could command top dollar from collectors eager to add a rare piece to their collection. Keep in mind that, just like with any collectible, the price can vary based on the coin's specific features and the demand from buyers. Before we wrap up, we want to hear from you. Have you ever come across a 1776 to 1976 half dollar or any other rare coin in your collection? Maybe you've spotted an error or found a proof coin that made your heart race? Drop a comment below and tell us about it. Today, we're diving into one of the most intriguing coins in the Kennedy half dollar series, the 1973 United States half dollar. You might have seen this coin in your pocket change or even in your collection, but did you know that it can be worth much more than its face value? Stick with me as we explore the fascinating history of this coin, its key features, potential errors to look for, and why it's so valuable to collectors today. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to spot a rare and valuable 1973 half dollar that could be worth thousands, if not tens of thousands, of dollars. Let's start with a little background. The 1973 Kennedy half dollar is part of a series of coins first issued in 1964, following the tragic assassination of President John F. Kennedy. The obverse of the coin features a portrait of Kennedy, created by artist Gilroy Roberts. The reverse design shows the classic eagle, which was designed by Frank Gasparo, along with the words United States of America and half dollar. While the Kennedy half dollar series began with 90% silver content in 1964, by 1971, the coin's composition changed to a copper-nickel clad material. The 1973 version, like most half dollars produced during this time, is made of 40% silver, which is important when we talk about the coin's value later. Now, you may be wondering why a seemingly common coin like the 1973 half dollar can be worth so much. One of the key factors that increases its value is the 40% silver content. While this doesn't make it as valuable as some earlier 90% silver coins, silver prices have steadily risen over the years. This makes the 1973 half dollar worth more than its face value for its silver alone. If you're holding a well-preserved, uncirculated 1973 half dollar, its silver content alone could be worth around $4 to $5 depending on the current market value of silver. But here's where things get even more interesting. The 1973 half dollar also has the potential to be incredibly valuable due to specific errors that make it stand out from other coins in the same series. Collectors are always on the lookout for minting errors, and the 1973 half dollar has a few notable ones that can greatly increase its value. One of the most exciting errors to watch for in the 1973 half dollar is the double die obverse error. This happens when the die used to strike the coin shifts slightly during the minting process, causing the design to be struck twice in the same area. The result is a noticeable doubling effect on certain parts of the coin, often on the letters in the inscriptions. For the 1973 half dollar, you'll want to look closely at the word liberty and the phrase, "In God We Trust," on the obverse. If you spot a clear doubling effect on these letters, you may have a very rare and valuable error coin in your hands. Double die errors can significantly increase the price of a coin, especially if the doubling is sharp and noticeable. Another error that can make a 1973 half-dollar worth more than its face value is the off-center strike. This occurs when the coin is not properly aligned during the minting process, causing part of the design to be cut off or misaligned. For the 1973 half-dollar, an off-center strike might leave part of the design, like the lettering or the eagle on the reverse, missing or distorted. If you come across an off-center 1973 half-dollar, especially one where a significant portion of the design is missing, it's considered highly collectible and could fetch a premium price. A less common but still important error to look for is the die crack. This occurs when the minting die begins to crack during the striking process. The crack will appear as a raised line or crack on the coin's surface. While die cracks are usually minor, some of the more noticeable or dramatic cracks can make the coin more desirable to collectors. For example, if a die crack appears near the date or on the obverse design of the 1973 half-dollar, it could increase the value of the coin due to its uniqueness. Now, let's talk about the condition of the coin, which is another huge factor in determining its value. Like any collectible, a coin that has been well preserved and shows minimal wear is much more valuable than one that's been heavily circulated. If you're examining a 1973 half-dollar, look at the details of the design, especially the hairlines on President Kennedy's portrait and the intricate details of the eagle. If the coin has been in circulation for a long time, the features may be worn down or faded. A high-quality example that shows minimal signs of wear can be worth much more than a coin that has seen heavy use. Now, let's get into the exciting part, the money. So, how much is the 1973 half-dollar worth? While a typical 1973 half-dollar in average circulated condition is generally worth only a few dollars over its silver value, the potential for a huge payout lies in the rare and error versions of the coin. If you have a 1973 half-dollar with a notable minting error, such as the double die obverse, off-center strike, or a dramatic die crack, the value could skyrocket. A well-preserved coin with no errors can be worth around $5 to $15. But if you have a coin with a rare error or in top-notch condition, you could be looking at a coin worth anywhere from $4,000 to $90,000. That's right, your 1973 half-dollar could potentially be worth anywhere from $4,000 to $90,000, depending on its condition and the rarity of any minting errors. The market for rare and error coins is always fluctuating, but if you have a 1973 half-dollar with a visible error and it's in excellent condition, there's a real chance it could be worth a lot of money. Before we wrap things up, we want to hear from you. Have you ever found a 1973 half-dollar with an error? Or perhaps you've got a rare coin hiding in your collection that you think might be worth something? Drop a comment below and share your thoughts or experiences. Today, we're diving deep into the fascinating world of the 1971 United States half-dollar. This coin, though it may seem like just another piece of change, holds some serious potential for collectors. Whether you're a seasoned coin enthusiast or just getting started, there's a lot to discover about this particular half-dollar. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to look for to spot a rare and valuable 1971 half-dollar, and how much it could be worth in today's market. Let's begin with a quick refresher on the history behind the 1971 Kennedy half-dollar. The coin was first introduced in 1964, just a year after President John F. Kennedy's tragic assassination. It was issued as a tribute to the late president, and its obverse features a portrait of Kennedy designed by Gilroy Roberts. The reverse side shows the traditional eagle design by Frank Gasparo. This design remained on the coin throughout most of its history. However, the 1971 half-dollar is part of a significant shift in U.S. coinage. Up until 1970, half-dollars were made of 90% silver, which made them highly sought after. But starting in 1971, the U.S. Mint began producing half-dollars with a copper-nickel-clad composition, which is what gives the 1971 version its unique characteristics. The coin contains 40% silver and 60% copper, which immediately affects its intrinsic value. While it's not as valuable as the pre-1970 90% silver half dollars, the 1971 coin still carries a decent silver content. Now that you understand the history, let's talk about why the 1971 half dollar is still so valuable to collectors. While millions of these coins were minted in 1971, the 40% silver content means they have intrinsic value, especially as the price of silver has risen over time. At current silver prices, even a common 1971 half dollar has a base value of several dollars due to its silver composition alone. But silver is just the beginning. Let's take a look at why this coin can be worth so much more when you factor in rare errors and unique qualities. One of the most exciting things about the 1971 half dollar is the potential for minting errors. As with any coin series, the possibility of errors during the minting process can significantly increase a coin's value. So, what are the specific errors to look for when searching for a 1971 half dollar? Let's go over a few of the most noteworthy. First on the list is the double die obverse error. This is one of the most sought-after errors in coin collecting, and it occurs when the die used to strike the coin shifts slightly during the minting process, creating a double image. For the 1971 half dollar, this error typically appears on the obverse side, where you can clearly see doubling on the inscriptions such as Liberty and In God We Trust. If you find a 1971 half dollar with noticeable doubling in the letters, it could be worth thousands of dollars, depending on the severity of the error and the coin's condition. A clear, well-defined double die obverse on a 1971 half dollar is a prime candidate for a collector's jackpot. Another error to keep an eye out for is the off-center strike. This occurs when the coin is misaligned in the minting process, causing part of the design to be cut off or shifted. An off-center 1971 half dollar might have a portion of the image of Kennedy or the eagle missing or displaced. While off-center strikes are not as common as some other errors, they are still highly collectible and can be worth a considerable amount more than a typical half dollar. If you come across one of these, especially if it's significantly off-center, you could be looking at a rare and valuable coin. Next up, we have the clipped planchet error. This occurs when the blank metal planchet, or coin blank, is cut improperly before being struck by the dies. The result is a coin that has a section missing from its edge. A clipped planchet on a 1971 half dollar will often have a curved portion of the coin missing, creating an unusual and unique appearance. While not the most common error, clipped planchets are still sought after by collectors, especially when they're in good condition and have a distinctive clip. Another thing to keep in mind when evaluating the 1971 half dollar is its condition. Like any other collectible, the value of the coin greatly depends on how well preserved it is. A coin that has been kept in pristine condition, with minimal wear, scratches, or discoloration, is much more valuable than one that has been circulated extensively. When evaluating your 1971 half dollar, look closely at the details of Kennedy's portrait and the eagle on the reverse. If the design is crisp and sharp, with no signs of significant wear, that coin is much more valuable than one that's been worn down over time. So, how much can a 1971 half dollar be worth? Well, if you found a 1971 half dollar in good condition without any errors, it's worth a bit more than its face value because of the 40% silver content. However, if you're lucky enough to find a 1971 half dollar with one of the rare errors we've discussed, like a double die obverse, off-center strike, or clipped planchet, you could be looking at a coin worth a lot more. In fact, the value of a 1971 half dollar can range anywhere from $3,800 to $95,000, depending on the condition of the coin and whether it has any errors. Coins with rare minting errors, particularly the double die obverse, can fetch a premium price at auctions, while well-preserved, uncirculated examples can also bring in a decent amount. If you're lucky enough to find a high-quality coin with one of these rare errors, you could be sitting on a true treasure. Before we finish up, we'd love to hear from you. Have you ever found a 1971 half dollar in your change or collection? Perhaps you've spotted an error or you're wondering if one of your coins could be worth something. Drop a comment below and let us know what you found or what you're currently hunting for. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on more coin tips, news, and discoveries. Thanks for watching, and happy coin hunting.